Today we're gonna be making rice paper sushi or sushi dumplings, basically a combination of two of some of the best things ever invented. Let's get started. Hi guys, it's Rose and welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan and another recipe video. So today, as I mentioned, we are going to be putting together two of some of the best things in life. Sushi, dumplings. Let's put them together. It's going to be a holy matrimony, okay? We are making rice paper sushi or sushi dumplings, whatever you want to call them, and it is so good. I cannot begin to tell you. I'm gonna give you a few different options of how to make this. I'm gonna make it one way, but I will give you options on how to make it different ways as well. This is really your recipe. I always suggest do whatever you want, okay? I'm just giving you a little bit of a guide. The written recipe will always be linked down below in the description. It's gonna be on my blog, and if you do enjoy this recipe, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, and of course, give my blog post a 5-star review. Those help me a lot. So yeah, let's make some vegan sushi dumplings or rice paper sushi. Before we jump into the recipe, I just want to let you guys know that I am hosting yet another trip. This time we are going to Bali again. This is Bali 2.0 and I'm so excited because Bali is amazing. Okay, if you have never been there, it is a magical place and it is such a great place for vegans. And because I've already been to Bali and I hosted a trip there last year, we actually made it even better this time, okay? We learned from that trip. It was still amazing, obviously, but we learned a lot of things and we were like, okay, let's make it even better this time. So it's Bali 2.0. It is new and improved, even better than last time. It's going to be a vegan food tour. We have a bunch of vegan restaurants on the itinerary. Some of them we went to on the last trip and they were beloved. They were awesome. And we added some other restaurants in there as well. And we of course included some of the favorite activities on the itinerary, such as a Balinese cooking class. Yeah, we are doing that. We are visiting a local farm, which was one of the highlights of the tour last year. And we are doing the monkey forest yet again this year, of course, because that was again such a big highlight, and we're doing so many fun things. So if you guys want to travel with me in Bali, we're gonna spend a week together, myself and a group of other amazing like-minded people. These trips are so fun. If you love to travel but maybe you're afraid of traveling by yourself, or you are just kind of not sure how to travel as a vegan, or you just want to meet like-minded people or myself and you want to make some amazing memories, make sure you check out the Bali trip. That'll be linked down below. Guys, these trips are so fun. I always have a lot of repeat travelers that come with me on a bunch of different trips with me. So if you want to come with me on a trip, this is your chance to do so. So Vegan in Bali 2.0, that is linked down below. There are limited spots available, so make sure you book it right away. You don't have to pay the full price right away. You only pay 25% right now, and then you can pay in full later. So check it out, you guys. The link is below with all of the information, what's included, what's not included, and all of the details of the itinerary. So yeah, hopefully I see you guys in Bali. Now let's get back to the recipe. First step to this is going to be making your rice. So my rice has already cooked. Make sure you're using sushi rice or short grain rice. I've already cooked it. It's in the rice cooker. It's ready to go. So make sure you do that first and then you can prepare the other things. So now what we're gonna do is make a vegan fish out of my favorite protein, which is tofu. So I'm gonna make something similar to my vegan flaky salmon. So we're gonna need some extra firm tofu. I'm gonna make this, but I'm gonna give you some other options if you want to do a different sort of, you know, sushi dumpling, okay? This is just one option. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a block of extra firm tofu and we are going to take a cheese grater. And of course, as a level 10 vegan, I use the cheese grater to grate tofu and not much else. Is it called a cheese grater? Like, or is it just called a grater? I don't know, whatever. I think most people use it for cheese though. So we're just gonna grate the tofu. I'm sorry, my accents, it's a problem. Anyway, we're gonna grate the tofu so that we are creating these kind of flaky sort of things right here. We love a flake, we love a tofu flake. And this is really gonna give your tofu like a really nice texture, kind of like a, you know, like a flaky, fishy sort of texture. And texture is a lot when it comes to food. Yeah, that's why we're creating this texture, okay? It's not in vain, my friends. All right, now we got the flaky salmon. If you have a few pieces of tofu like left over, don't hurt yourself, don't grate off your finger, just keep it on the side and I don't know, like add it in later, or you can just crumble it up. You know what, that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna crumble it up. I'm just gonna add it in here. here. It doesn't matter if every single piece is flaky, okay? We got mostly grated tofu, some of it crumbled. We have it all here, ready to go. Now we have to flavor it. Now remember, tofu is like a sponge, or not a sponge. Yeah, kind of like a sponge. It will take in whatever flavors, okay? So we are going to make it taste fishy. So first, let's add some rice vinegar. Yum. Next, we're adding miso paste. Now, alternatively, I just thought of this. You could actually mix all of the sauce ingredients together first and then add this. I think that's what I normally do. Yeah, I messed up here. Once again, I messed up. What I do? You know what, let's just try out and get it. So normally I would mix the rice vinegar with the miso paste and with all of the seasonings, but you know, shit happens, and we're just gonna add the miso paste. The reason why I would want to probably usually do that is because you want to just thin out everything first and make it all cohesive and then add it in, but you know what? Let's go with it. Let's just wing it. So miso paste is added. Now we're gonna add some garlic powder. We're gonna add some salt. And normally I would add better than bouillon seasoning, which is kind of like a thick paste. Not really that thick, but it's like a paste. It's kind of like a vegetable broth seasoning, but I don't have the better than bouillon seasoning. I only had vegetable broth cubes. So what I did was I just crumbled up some of the veggie broth cube, and then I just mixed in a little bit of water just to kind of break it down a little bit. So yeah, that's what you could do. There you go. Preferably like warm or hot water, and that'll be easier to break down. And then this part is optional, but if you want that kind of salmony, pinkish color, you can add some beetroot powder. That's really gonna give it that pinky color. Next, we're gonna add some kelp powder. Now, kelp powder is going to give this a very nice fishy flavor. I swear by kelp powder, I use it so much, and yeah, I highly recommend it. If you don't have kelp powder, probably add just like little bits of flaked nori, just like crumble up some nori, or just skip this step. It's not really like a necessary step, but it's really nice if you really want that fishy flavor. Now, the moment of truth. Let's mix this up. Let's hope for the best that we can mix in this miso paste properly. Might take a little bit more effort than I originally intended, but hey, what are we gonna do? That is the reality of cooking. Not everything is going to be perfect. Gonna break up that miso paste. Okay, it's not so bad. I feel like it's breaking up. I might get a chunk of miso at some point, but that's okay. I'm gonna give this a taste. Oh, guys, honestly, it's so good. Okay, so now this is mixed pretty well, and it's tasting fishy, which is what we want. Now to this, I'm gonna add some vegan mayo, okay? Vegan mayo, we're gonna bring this all together. Here we go. Now we have our lovely vegan fish. Let's give it one more little taste. It's so good. Guys, I'm telling you, that is delicious. Now this is gonna be my protein for this recipe. Now the other options, you guys, could be my vegan spam, which is basically smoked tofu. I have a recipe for this. I'll link that below as well. You could make that, and that can be your protein instead of this, if that's what you want. I think that would be really delicious as well. Another option, if you wanna skip the tofu and you wanna make this even cheaper, you can make a chickpea tuna, which of course I make all the time, and that would be amazing as well in this recipe. So again, that will be linked below. And if I can think of any other things that you could add to this, I'll link it below as well. So the options are endless. You really don't have to make this specific thing. This is just an idea, and it's a great idea, but it is just an idea, and it is up to you what you want to do with your life and your recipe. And now let's move on to the rice. All right, now I have my cooked sushi rice. Now, as you can see, cooked sushi rice is very sticky, and this is why it works great for when you are dealing with sushi. So make sure you're using sushi rice or short grain rice. It's basically the same thing. Usually Korean or Japanese rice, that's basically sushi rice. So we have here some cooked sushi rice. I cooked this in my rice cooker, so it's already nice and ready to go. So what we want to do is just season this to make it sushi rice, essentially. So I'm just gonna add in some rice vinegar and some salt and sugar, and then we're just gonna mix it well. Now this is still warm, and generally I do this when the rice is still warm because it I feel like it just kind of soaks it in better and it's easier to mix. So just make sure your rice is still warm. There you go. Now the result should be a nice, slightly sweet, vinegary, slightly salty rice. It's so good. So the sushi rice is ready to go. Now, let's make it. So now you can prepare anything else that you want to add into your sushi dumpling. I'm gonna do some avocado because, you know, it's avocado. Let's hope this is a good one. Okay, that's a pretty sexy avocado. So we're just gonna, you know, get the avocado ready, just into thin slices like so. And obviously you can prepare anything else you want to add. You can even just skip this step, just keep it really simple. It's up to you. So let's make some avocado. There we go. We've got a bunch of avocado ready to go. And then I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I just have some carrots that I have chopped up into nice thin pieces. Again, this part is optional. Feel free to skip this. That's totally fine. The next thing we're gonna need is nori. Yay, nori, which is also known as roasted seaweed. So I'm gonna take some nori, and I'm just gonna fold it up to cut it up. We're gonna divide one piece into 6 pieces, okay? We want just kind of smaller, rectangular pieces, and it's very easy to just rip up the nori. I'm gonna fold it, and then I'm gonna repeat, okay? Quite simple. Again, right here, we're just gonna do a little foldage on both sides. So you don't need to use scissors, you don't need a knife. I'm ripping up 2 different pieces of nori, so that's why it looks like this. But you can just do one, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's perfect. So that's ready to go. And now we are ready to assemble. So, of course, we are making rice paper sushi. So we're gonna need rice paper. So we're using Vietnamese rice paper, and I'm gonna use this is 22 centimeters. I believe that's about 10 inches. I'm not sure, but you know, just kind of smaller size. I feel like this is the standard size that you can find. You can use whatever size you want, but this is the one I'm gonna use. And what you need, some warm water in a bowl. Sometimes if I'm just making this, just, you know, not filming it, I just take some running warm water and then I just stick the rice paper in there, and then that does the trick. So you don't necessarily need to get a bowl, but for this video, we're being professional. So now I'm just gonna dip this rice paper into this warm water. Now the water should be warm, but not super hot, okay? It's hard to explain temperatures, but you know, it doesn't really matter. I leave it in here for about, I don't know, like 5 to 8 seconds, I don't know. There you go, we're gonna do this. This one's a little ripped, but I think it should be okay. So now we have this, and now we can get started. So we're gonna start with a nori piece. We're just gonna flop that on here like so, and then we're gonna add our lovely sushi rice. Now every time I'm working with sushi rice, I always keep a bowl of water, like a small bowl of water with me, because sushi rice, like I said, is quite sticky, so it sticks to your fingers as well. So when you have your fingers dampened, it actually helps not stick to the fingers, because then it's a lot harder to work with. So that's what I recommend. That's my little tip. So we're just gonna, on top of that nori, we're gonna add that lovely rice. And then, of course, we're gonna add our lovely vegan salmon. I would say for the first one, maybe just be a little bit more conservative with the amount that you're adding, just because you don't know, you know, you gotta feel it out a little bit, you know? The first one's always a little bit of just a guesstimation, if you will. We're just doing a little guesstimation as to how much we want to add into each one. Lovely. Now I'm gonna add the carrots, just a small, thin layer. Okay, you don't need a lot. And then we can add our avocado, just a few pieces. Oh, it looks so pretty already. And now at the very end here, we're gonna add in one more piece of nori just to top it off. And then we're going to fold it up. Now you can start with the sides. I don't think it really matters like how you start this. I think you can do a side, a side, bottom, top. Oh, it's getting a bit sticky, so I probably want to grease this. Oh no, oh no, it's a bit ripped. There you go. She's a little cute sushi dumpling. Now the bottom doesn't look so pretty, but that's okay. So what I would do now, I'm just gonna grease up everything a little bit, just a tiny bit of oil on the plate where I'm gonna put the finished pieces before we cook it up. So we're just gonna do a little bit of oil, and that way it'll prevent it from sticking. And I'm gonna do that here as well. Okay, we're gonna grease it just a bit on the cutting board just to prevent the stickage. All right, let's make the second one. Let's make this one good. Not that that one was bad, but let's make this one even better. So again, just a few seconds in the warm water, and then onto a greased cutting board. We're gonna add that on. We're gonna add in a piece of nori. We're gonna add some of that sticky, delicious sushi rice. Then we're gonna add the lovely vegan salmon. Another thing you could do is you could drizzle on some vegan mayo on top of this as well. You could also drizzle on some sriracha mayo if you want to mix in vegan mayo with sriracha, or you could drizzle in some like soy sauce, or you can dip it in soy sauce. I mean, the options are endless, my beautiful friends. Okay, now, you know what? Let's start with avocado this time, just to switch it up. Avocado slices. We're gonna do that, and then we can add the lovely carrots. Great. Then, final touch, the nori sheet. And then we're going to close her up, tuck her in, you know. Let's try doing this time, this way. So the side method. Okay, she's going to bed. We're tucking her in. Tucking her in. There we have it. Beautiful. All right, now I'm gonna make the rest, and then I'll see you guys in just a few seconds. Some gigantic sushi dumplings or rice paper sushi. As you can see here, I made 6. You can make these smaller as well. Again, this is up to you, how you want to make it, how you want to shape it. It's up to you. I made them pretty large. Okay. So we are just going to take a pan. I've heated some oil. You can add as much or as little oil as you want. And then we're just gonna cook it up on the pan with a bit of oil. Yummy! So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cook this up for just a few minutes on each side, just to let this become nice and golden, and it's gonna become nice and crispy as well. And then it's basically ready to enjoy. You could also add a final touch, which I'll show you. Super simple. And my mouth is watering already. All right guys, so our dumplings are looking nice and beautiful. Slightly crispy on the outside, slightly golden, and now we're gonna do the final touch, which is basically coat it a little bit with sesame seeds. Okay, so I have some sesame seeds here, which I'm just gonna lay out on the same plate as we used before. And then we're just going to take each piece of rice paper dumpling and we're just gonna coat it just ever so slightly. You could also do this before you start to cook it as well. I don't know which method is better, but just like a little bit, top it with some sesame seeds. That's it. You can sprinkle it on as well if you want to. So I think actually it would be better to do this before the cooking, because then it would help make it stick. But again, doesn't really matter, but yeah, that's one thing to note. Here we go. Alright guys, I cannot wait to try this, okay? It is going to be lovely. I mean, I've made it before, so I know it's gonna be good. And some of them I cut in half so I can show you guys the inside. And without further ado, let me just dip in some soy sauce. And let me just dig in. I'm so hungry. This might be one of my most favorite things I've made recently. It's so good. It is just everything. The rice paper, it's like slightly crispy but also chewy, and it just goes so well with all the different flavors. I mean, what can I say, guys? This is so delicious. It's definitely one of my most favorite recipes I've made recently. And let me tell you, it is so good. You definitely want to try this out, you guys. If you love sushi, if you love rice paper, if you love, you know, deliciousness, if you love joy, make this right now. It is so bomb. I definitely want to try making this with the different protein options like I mentioned, either my vegan spam recipe or my chickpea tuna. I feel like those are gonna be so good with this, but this flaky salmon one is so good. My friends, definitely try this out at home. The full written recipe is available on my blog, which is linked down below. Make sure you check that out and make sure you give that recipe a 5-star review, and of course, give this video a big thumbs up. Guys, if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And once again, guys, make sure you check out the Bali trip if you are interested in traveling with me and eating delicious vegan food with me and exploring with me in Bali. The link is down below for all of the details on the Bali trip. And of course, you can book right away as well if you are interested in meeting me in Bali. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!